Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is James here with a market update for July the 8th. It's about 6:40 p.m. Central Time, so about 7:40 Eastern Time. And the market has, pulled a wamboozle on me, right? I was really expecting and really hoping, and that's the key word there, hoping. That's a dangerous thing with trading. I was hoping this thing was going to go ahead and have a bearish Monday and go down and fill these CME gaps. Instead, it did the opposite of what I wanted it to do, which is it broke north. Of course, by now, I'm sure if you're trading at all, you've realized that we had a triangle. And I posted in my Facebook group, when that triangle was forming, I said, look, these things, they can break either way. And when they break, it tends to be violent, so be careful. And it did. It broke north, and it was very, very violent. Actually, there was a 5-minute candle that was about a 4% candle. I watched it happen in real time. I was still watching the charts, and I just watched that thing skyrocket in a 5-minute window. So it broke north. So what does that do to my overall stance? Not much. I'm still bearish big picture, meaning that I still think we're in a correction. I still think we're going down to $7,000 area, and I'll explain why in just a second. But short term, meaning on the 4-hour chart, this looks strong to me. This looks very strong. If we look at the RSI, we've got a really nice trend. This thing is trending upward. I don't want a horizontal line. I want a trend line. If I can get trading these signals out of my way there, or symbols. So we've got this really strong uptrend in the RSI. We've got a very strong uptrend in the price. And I think it's extremely likely that we are going to go up and test the 12.8K to $13,000 area. I don't see many scenarios where that does not happen at this point. I think after that happens, we're probably going to go ahead and start down. When I zoom out on this thing, and I look at it from a big picture stance, when I look at the daily, this looks like a cliche double top forming to me. Okay, this looks like our A leg, and this looks like our B leg, and then I think we're going to have a C leg. And if this plays out that way, we're going to get a very picture perfect M. Now again, this doesn't go straight down. Obviously, this will have movements on the way, but we're going to get an overall picture of an M. Which is, kind of what I'm expecting to happen. And without going into deep detail on the rules of Elliott waves, basically the C wave is supposed to, and I say supposed to, it's a general rule of thumb, it's supposed to come down to the 61.8 fib of the move that you're correcting from. So we're correcting from, 3,100 to almost 14,000, so that 61.8 fib is actually sitting at right around $7,231 on the Coinbase chart. So I do think it's very likely we're going to come down to that area. That area lines up with a couple of other things. Number one, it lines up with strong areas of support right here. But also, if we zoom out to our weekly, it lines up very nicely with our 21 moving average. Now, the 21 moving average historically has been a really strong point of support for Bitcoin and or resistance. You can see it was acting as resistance to this area. If we go back to 2017, we can see that during the corrections, that 21 moving average acted as support, and we'd often bounce off of it, come down to retest it, bounce off of it, come down to test it, bounce off of it, come down to test it, bounce off of it, go up, come down. See this? Just over and over and over again, we came down and retested it. Really, we didn't get away from that 21 moving average until we went parabolic, and we had our blow off top from September to December, and then we didn't come down and retest it till January. And again, we bounced off of it, and then we fell through it. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking. I think we are going to come down and test that 21 moving average. But here's the caveat to that. Right now, that moving average is at $6,886. You have to remember that changes. Like literally every minute that's changing, right? You can see it changing right now in the video. Okay. So the longer this stays high, the higher that weekly average is going to move. And I think if we, go up and test this $12,800 to $13,000 area, and then we gradually come down maybe over the course of a week or 2 weeks, it's probably going to pull that moving average up right around that $7,000 to $7,200 area, and that would make it line up almost perfectly with our 61.8 fib. And if that happens, I'm going to feel really, really good about putting my money in at that area. It's going to be an extremely strong level of support. Doesn't guarantee it can't fail. It doesn't guarantee we won't go down and test these old levels, right? Because we do still have old levels that we haven't tested. So if we look at, realistically, we could still come down and test that 4250 area. I know it seems obscene, it seems absurd after going up to 14,000, but That's the way charts typically work. From a technical analysis point of view, you typically come down and test old highs. We haven't done that, so we still have a gap between 42.50 and around $5,000 as far as old highs, old support, resistances type stuff. All right, so I could see it still coming down there, but I would feel pretty strongly about putting money in at this level. And we also still have this level around 6,000 that we really have not come down and retested. Same thing, right? That was a strong level of support all through 2018. Even going back to November 2017, it acted as support. It acted as support in February 2018. It acted as support in June. It acted as support in August. And just a very, very strong line of support. So realistically, it's not impossible for us to still come down and test this 42.50 area or this 58.50 area. Okay, I know people are talking bullish. I seen somebody just a minute ago post a chart calling for $30,000. That's all great and dandy. It's fun to hope, and it's, you know, that's, I'm not telling you not to hope and pray that it goes up, but I'm just saying that understand that these are not absurd. If you see somebody talking about these levels, don't roll your eyes and write it off like, oh, that's never happening. Bitcoin's never going to go that low again. Of course it can go that low, right? And we've talked about this in previous videos. I'm not going to go into it again and again and beat a dead horse, but just keep that in the back of your mind. But right now for me, the levels that I'm watching, I want to watch this B leg, if it is indeed a B leg, play out. It, you know, as I've alluded to in past videos, it could very well be leg 5, right? This may have been leg 4, and this could be leg 5, and it could take us up to about $16,000 in my opinion. But I think it's more likely it's actually leg B, and it's going to probably go up, hit a 12.8 or $13,000 area, and then we're going to see finally leg C of this correction. And if so, like I said, it'll make a beautiful double top. It'll be a very easy trade to take. And when it gets down to this end of the C leg, if it does get down this far, it's going to be a very easy position to put some money in for me personally, because it's going to line up very, very nicely with the 21 moving average on the weekly, and of course the golden ratio, which is the 61.8 fib. But on the 5-minute, I'll show you something else real quick. If you're watching this thing and you're waiting and you want to go long on it, not telling you to go long, don't misunderstand, but if you are going to go long on it, just a couple of areas that you probably want to keep an eye on. We had this big jump right here that we haven't yet come down to retest, and we had another big jump right in this area that we haven't come down to retest. So before we make that final push up, I'm expecting, and I could be wrong, right? This has been a very strong move. It may just completely say, you know, screw you, we're doing what we want. But I would expect that this will come down, and at least down in this area here, and possibly all the way down to this area here before it makes it that final push that I was talking about. So if you're long, you know, I wouldn't let it shake you out necessarily. But if you're going short, I also wouldn't let it trap you and make you think, okay, we're going down now, because the 4-hour looks strong, the daily looks strong, and I really think it's a B leg, and a B leg is going to be, you know, something that goes up a little bit further than you expect typically. We had a very strong W here, right, on the daily, and if you zoom in on the 4-hour, we actually had a W within a W. So we had a W right here, and then we actually had a bigger W right here. So those are both pretty bullish. It's hard to bet against Bitcoin in the short term. I don't think this thing is going to go down today, right? We'll see. Maybe it'll hit this 13,000 mark maybe tomorrow. If it just keeps going up, I gotta say, if it blows past and makes a new high, to me, I'm gonna change my stance. I'm gonna feel like we're bullish. I'm gonna feel like this probably is actually a leg 4. It can't be a leg. Well, technically it can be, but in my mind, it's not gonna be a leg B if we make a new high. In my mind, that would, you know, shift my thinking to it's likely to be a leg 5, and you know, we're gonna go up to the $16,000 area that I talked about in previous videos. There is some setups that support that, by the way, so it's not just a random number. You can go back and watch previous videos if you didn't see the video about the $16,000 possibility. All right, so with all that being said, rambled a little bit longer than I meant to. I apologize for that. I hope you enjoyed the video, though. If you are watching it on YouTube, please be sure and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching it on Facebook, be sure and give it a like. And if you're not already a member of that Facebook group, there will be a link in the description. You can come hang out. I try to shoot daily videos with technical analysis, at least on what Bitcoin is doing, sometimes other coins, but mainly Bitcoin. Come hang out. We'd love to have you. This is James. Thanks for watching the video. Please remember, I am literally some guy sitting in a spare bedroom, so nothing in this video is financial advice. and you should always do your own due diligence before making any type of investment.